From the outside, you look like you have your shift together.
But relationships, not always as easy. So let's have conversation that actually moves things forward.
And meet yourself where the shift happens.
Welcome to In Deep Shift, where we are continuing on this lovely conversation about anxious-avoidant partners. But we kind of ended up in this space on the last one where we were talking about the fact that if you are the person who is anxious-avoidant, and there, of course, are some ways and some possibilities that, you have some things in you where you were born that way. But it does not mean you have to be that way. And so we were talking about and starting to broach the conversation about what are some things that we can do ourselves, not only when we see somebody who is that person that we're trying to have a relationship with, but in ourselves to make sure we aren't carrying out those same actions.
Yes. So if you have an anxious attachment style, like I said before, people disagree on the idea of, can you change your attachment style? Can you not change your attachment style? Some people say you can. Some people say,
does that fall along the line of people saying you can't change who you are versus people who? Is that the same thing or not the same conversation?
I don't think it's the same conversation.
Okay.
I don't think it's the same conversation, but can you not, right?
Yeah.
And maybe you can't change your attachment style, but maybe you can become more comfortable.
I was about to say, here's a question that may help or may not help. Let's say it's not the question of can you change the style of who you are, but you can learn how to better manage it.
Yes.
Is that changing the style, or is that just another part along the path, or just a different route to take?
Is that a part of changing the style?
Yeah. Saying maybe I can't change the style, but I can learn how to better manage it. Is that actually starting to change the style, or is that just something else that's a different path to take?
Maybe it's just starting to change the style, I guess. I'm thinking about that in terms of if a person is just generally anxious.
Right.
We have some things that there are biological components to people being anxious.
Right.
That contribute or cause them to feel anxiety or have characteristics of anxiety. Right. If your amino acids are low, if your vitamin levels or mineral levels are not where they should be, a person will automatically feel anxious.
Right.
Just like if you're maybe if you have low vitamin D, you might be feeling some depression or malaise or low mood or whatever, right?
Right.
So there are biological components to these things. And we can use different kinds of holistic things to
balance
help
those
that,
out,
right?
yeah.
To balance that. And, we have manifesting and neuroplasticity and all that stuff where it's like a person can heal themselves with the thoughts that they think. And while I'm all for all that woo-woo weird stuff, I love that. I'm fascinated with it.
You absolutely do.
Because I feel like people are so intricate. But there are also things that we do probably need to address medically.
Right.
And so if you're a biologically an anxious person, we probably need to address that. You are probably going to have some anxiety in areas of life that we need to address the medical thing.
Okay.
Right? Just to bring your anxiety level down, whatever. And maybe that just means supplementing with an amino acid, right?
Okay.
Maybe it is you need some, a Western medication to help that, whatever, right? I'm a bothist. Right. Whatever works for you is what you should do. When I'm talking about the medical part of it with clients, I always say, in my house, we have, Tylenol and ibuprofen, or I have a natural anti-inflammatory as well as ibuprofen. Right. Because we're both this, and whatever works for you is what you should do.
What you do.
Right.
What you do.
I'm let me put my shilling oil on that because I'm a little weirdo. Right. So whatever works for you is what you should do. But back to the question of, can a person change their attachment style, or maybe it's just a better management of it? Maybe it's just better management of it. And I brought the medical stuff in saying maybe you need to fix the medical stuff, but you can manage your anxiety by lifestyle and things like that.
Yeah.
So, because how some foods that you eat affect how you feel, right, can contribute to anxiety or help minimize the anxiety.
Right.
Right. So that would be a way to manage it, but it's not necessarily changing that you're biologically anxious.
Right.
Or you have biological markers that would lead to anxiety.
Lead to anxiety.
Right.
Here's the question. Does it matter?
What do you mean doesn't matter?
Does it matter whether somebody changes or whether they learn how to better manage? Does it matter which option is taken?
I think if we can figure out what's causing it,
Okay.
then we can change that.
Okay.
Because if a person is taking something to increase their serotonin, we're getting way off the idea of anxious attachment. Yes. Sometimes I just fear that in the middle of having these conversations.
I know, it's the things to manage.
So if a person is increasing their serotonin to help with their anxiety, which if they go to a general practitioner or whatever, that's what's going to happen. But maybe your anxiety is contributed to, like I said, amino acids, like low amino acids.
Yeah.
And if we can just supplement with that, maybe depending on how minor or major it is, we can like decrease your anxiety by that, right? But so that would be a way of fixing it, but also a way of managing it.
Okay.
Right. So when it comes to attachment styles, and if a person is generally anxious, and most of the time you're going to be like that in relationships, period, from what I've seen, from my experience, right? A person can be like that in relationships, period, maybe not just romantic partners. Maybe if they feel their boss at work has been generally friendly and now all of a sudden the boss feels like they're distant or not talking to them as much or not sharing as much, or maybe talking to someone else more than what they've had been talking to that other person and talking to you less, you might start to feel some anxiety.
Yeah. Yeah.
So oftentimes I would say that your attachment style comes from your upbringing. If you have parents that are caretakers who aren't available, you might be trying to press in because, like any attention is better than no attention.
Right.
So we might be trying to press in to get that attention.
Right.
And we can do that with different things. I've seen people who do it by like a sickness or medical thing. People that do it by acting out.
Okay. Yeah.
People that are constantly requesting attention or the need for someone else. Like, I need your help. I need your assistance, whatever, to help with something. Because like I said, attention is attention. It doesn't matter if it's negative or positive.
Right. You're just happy to have some attention going on.
Yeah. So back to the idea of like, can you change it? As an adult, we always say to people, you are not responsible for your trauma, but you are responsible for your healing. And that can look many, many different ways. Yeah. And many different things. But in our world, I'm a dating specialist, so that's what we talk about. Right. How can we do that? So one thing we've talked about here many times, always go inward.
Always.
What am I feeling? What am I experiencing? Name it, identify it, sit with it, ask where it's coming from, ask when do I feel this way?
Right.
What usually triggers it? What usually makes it feel better? Or why does this trigger it? Why does this trigger it?
Yeah.
And what might make it feel better, or what do I want? I've said to many clients, have you ever asked your body just like what it wants?
Right. Which is a weird question to ask, and most of them say no. It's a question you specifically ask. I don't ask it that way, but you specifically ask it.
Yeah, I will specifically ask.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah. I just don't remember to ask it that way, honestly. But yeah.
Like maybe your body does just want a day off. Maybe your body does just want a nap. Maybe your body does just want to move. Maybe it does want a salad. Maybe it does want, protein, whatever. It will tell you. It's telling you a lot. We have the book, The Body Keeps the Score, right? Your body is telling you what's going on.
Your body is telling you what it wants when it gets sick.
Yeah.
So let's listen to it before that happens.
Yeah, your body knows what it needs. So one thing we talk about that is like first going internal.
Yep.
And assessing like I just said, what am I feeling? When am I feel it? What usually triggers it? What usually makes it feel better? Why does that trigger it? Why does this make it feel better?
Yeah.
And learning about yourself instead of just trying to like, oh, this feels uncomfortable. Let me fix that. Let me fix it. Let me fix it.
Right.
Because that's going to create anxiety, right? Of just sitting with it and asking those questions and trying to like deduce like, what is that?
Right.
Nowadays, we have a lot of nervous system dysregulation.
All over the place.
Yeah. So we don't like being still. We don't do well with quiet. We don't do well with just quieting ourselves and seeing what bubbles to the surface.
Yeah. We don't do well with waiting for the answer.
Yeah. But if a person is being loud all the time, how can you hear? So really the only way to hear is to just get quiet.
Yeah.
If you've said like 100 times, like more than 100 times, like I'm a loud talker.
Yep.
Especially after I've been around my family, you're like, you're so loud.
Especially after you've been around your
Your
family.
inside voice,
It's
you're
like,
yelling.
I need you to turn.
Or if I get really passionate about something, you're like, oh, you're yelling. Right?
Uh-huh.
And I can't hear then.
Yeah.
If I'm being so loud all the time, like I can't hear, so I need to like quiet.
Right.
So one of the first things is like go inward, go internal. And if you need someone to help you with that, then like reach out to a professional. In figuring out like where it came from, what triggers it, things like that.
Right.
And then try to, depending on where that is, try to take some steps to do that. Like we just talked about in our last episode that we recorded.
Yep.
Of date yourself.
Date yourself.
Date yourself. Like take yourself out. Although I did have somebody this week tell me like, I don't think I can afford to take myself on the dates I want to be taken on. And I said, you might. We just laughed. I was like, you might need to like shift your
you might
expectations.
Have to tone down your own
then.
date expectations
Yeah.
then maybe.
Yeah. If you can't afford to take you out.
You can't afford to take you out?
Yeah. We might need to shift.
I'm going to need you not to expect somebody to afford to take you out.
Need to make
It's
some
just,
adjustments.
I'm just saying.
So dating sessions with me, we are laughing a lot. Yeah, take yourself out. Be by yourself. See how you feel.
Yeah.
Assess the same things like, what am I experiencing?
Yeah.
When did I start to experience this? What makes it feel better? Okay, well, being around people makes it feel better. Okay, well, why?
Right.
Why are we not comfortable just
being around self?
Yeah. And
why isn't self people enough?
Right. And it's not that, well, I'm an extrovert, Cassie, so I need to be around people. That's what energizes you. And I'm not telling you to like invest in a life of solitude and aloneness.
Right.
I'm just saying, go out by yourself for an hour or two.
I particularly love the Myers-Briggs definition of extroversion versus kind of the world's definition of extroversion.
Go on.
Because the Myers-Briggs definition of extroversion says, this is where I draw energy from.
Right.
It doesn't say I have to be around a lot of people for validation or I have to be around a lot of people because I love interacting with people. It's just saying that I draw in energy from being around other people versus I draw in energy from being around myself for introversion. Yeah. I like that as a definition versus I'm extroverted because I like to talk to a lot of people.
Yeah, no, that's not the same thing.
That's not the same thing.
No, it's where does your energy
come from?
Yeah.
Like shared energy versus energy from within.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm not asking anyone to engage in a life of solitude until they become comfortable with it, because that's also...
You don't have to be monks.
No.
We're not meditating for hours on end.
Just occasionally be by yourself without being on your phone, without feeling like you have to talk to someone, without having a friend with you all the time.
Right.
Just... like I said, like take yourself out.
Yeah.
See what that feels like. Pay attention to the type of people that you partner up with in romantic relationships.
Meaning?
Do they increase your anxiety? Do they decrease your anxiety? Mm-hmm. If they increase your anxiety, where's this coming from?
Yeah.
Why? Like we said, like oftentimes someone that has an anxious attachment will choose an avoidant partner.
Yep.
That goes back to the stuff we said about childhood. If you feel like your parents aren't available, so this is what feels normal and comfortable to me.
Yep.
So I'm choosing this partner that maybe doesn't fulfill my life, leaves me feeling bad about myself, leaves me feeling insecure, but I'm going to choose them over this person that when I leave their presence, like I feel good.
Right.
Because this feels more normal.
I like to say, are they an energy source or energy suck?
Yeah.
Do they provide or do they take? And a good relationship, a good partner, whether we're talking about romantic or whether we're talking about friend or whether we're talking about family, a good relationship should have equal exchange of providing and taking energy as opposed to someone who just pulls and pulls and pulls and pulls.
And sometimes, do you think an avoidant person pulls the energy?
I do. I think an avoidant person pulls your energy in a way you don't necessarily think about it, because they're not necessarily saying, give me your energy, give me your energy, give me your energy. They're actually, in so many ways, not trying to take your energy, but it's the response of the person trying to attract and gain attention and gain the relationship of that avoidant person that causes the energy to actually be sucked out anyway.
Oh, that they would be putting forth extra energy.
Yeah. So they're putting forth extra energy. Even though the person might not be requiring it, they're still sucking your energy because you're putting forth all this extra energy just to be with them. Mm-hmm. And because they're not requiring it, because they don't want it, they're also not giving you any interchange back to you. So the energy you're expending to be close and affectionate or whatever to them, they're not exchanging it back to you because they're constantly moving further away from you.
It's the idea also of pay attention to see if they're reaching back.
Mm-hmm. Like the reach back is important. Like the reach back is important. Again. Like the idea that the person should be reaching back, whoever you're reaching out to, whoever you're trying to build a relationship with, you're reaching for them. They should be reaching back for you, trying to hold your hand.
Right.
You know, it's supposed to be like this, not you like this, and they got their hand down next to them like, no, don't touch me. That's not what we're going for. That's not a healthy relationship.
No. And if a person is avoidant, they're not going to be turning around to you to see how you're doing.
They're not turning around. They're not turning to the side. They're not looking forward. The avoidant person, my mental visual of the avoidant person is like, you know, the person that's walking with their hand behind their back, trying to make sure they don't touch anything, looking at the ceiling, trying to make sure they don't catch anybody's eye contact. That.
Don't get me wrong. When an avoidant person wants your attention, like you're gonna know. You're gonna want to give it to them.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're gonna make you feel so great. And when you have their attention, like you oftentimes have all their attention.
Yep.
Now, granted, that doesn't mean the whole time you're with them you have all their attention. How many times have you heard we were having a meal and, they took a phone call from another.
And that was it.
Yeah, another person.
That was it.
Right, another intimate partner.
Yep, and that was it right there.
Yeah, like, yeah.
I mean, the problem with the concept of the avoidant in that scenario is the idea that, once again, when we're talking about give and pull, exchange, it's everything in the relationship is give and pull and exchange. And in that moment, what is happening is there is no exchange of availability and accessibility. It's I'm accessible when I want to be accessible, and I'm not accessible as soon as I don't want to be accessible.
And I want you to be accessible when I want you to be accessible.
Right.
But other than that,
I don't care.
I want to know that you're accessible whenever I want you to be accessible.
Right.
But that doesn't mean I always want.
And sometimes I just want to know you're accessible, and I'm going to come in and I'm going to test to make sure you're accessible. And as soon as I find out you are accessible, I'm going to turn my spigot back off. I just want to make sure you're accessible when I want to. I want.
Yeah.
And that's a cruel, emotional, mental joke on people.
I heard somebody say once, I can't remember where it was, that men are like monkeys and they won't let go of one vine until they have a hold of another.
I consistently hate the men references to animals. I really do.
Well, also like this difference between men and women. I don't always like the comparison difference between men and women either.
Because here's the thing. It's easy to say that men want to have access to something else before they move. And I don't necessarily doubt that. Men like to have options. We like to have options and know there's a chance. I would say the opposite argument to that will be the concept of the woman keeping around the friend that she knows is in love with her, but she keeps at friend's pace or friend's distance just in case she needs one night. And wants to have and needs to have that affection one night and knows that this friend is there who would happily provide it. So we'll keep you at friend level unless I need you for something else. So, and I'm not saying that's not every scenario.
I really like you as a friend. We're good friends, even though I know you're in love with me.
Yeah.
So I'm still going to be.
That's the same thing.
I'm going to pretend like I don't know that you're in love with me.
I'm going to pretend I don't know that you're in love with me. I'm going to keep you at friend level. But if there's one night I'm really feeling lonely, I'm going to call you at 11 or midnight.
That's just using someone.
But that's the same thing.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing.
That's what I'm saying. It's the same thing. It's cool to say men are like monkeys, but it's the same exact thing. You just,
I'm not
there's a
disagreeing.
Chris Rock joke that putting a man in the friend zone is just putting like the fire glass up. The pulling case.
Break for emergencies.
Yeah, break for emergency. That's all it is. I'm keeping a friend around so I can break it for emergency. Like it's fun to say men are like monkeys and act like that women don't do the same thing, but women do. It just gets categorized. Yeah, it gets categorized differently.
Women, men do the same.
Get compared to the
but
animal.
Maybe the real problem is this: if you think that that's the case,
yeah,
maybe you're sticking around. You're just being thirsty.
Oh, you are. If you're sticking around and you know that's the case, just roll out.
If you're sticking around, yeah. How do I want to describe that? Where you think that they're a man or a woman. If you think that they're looking for someone else and they're not really attentive, and most of the time that's quite obvious.
Yeah,
that's a you issue.
Oh, that's a straight up you issue.
That's a you issue. That's not a
that goes back to that
issue.
confidence and insecurity thing. You need to go out and date some people. I don't care who they are. Honestly, I honestly don't care. If you're in a situation where you are madly in love with somebody else who is paying you no mind, you need to go out on dates with people, even if you don't think you even like them. And I don't consider that in a using sense because it's the first date, and hopefully you're both there's some like there. You're not going out on dates with people just for the sake of using their time, but you want to go out on dates, go out with other people, go out and do other things, break away, because all you're doing is chaining yourself in to somebody who has no use for you. No use for you.
Only use for you.
Or only want to use you.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Or only want to use you for the sake of having their back protected while they go date other people or do other things, or, and just keep you in the background. But the problem with that truly is now, because of that insecurity, lack of confidence, inability to go do your own thing, you have now closed yourself up to anybody possibly seeing you. Mm-hmm. How many times has the story been that this person was just following behind this other person, just googly-eyed and just lost in their space, and somebody else from work or somebody else who knew him somewhere was just eyeing him like, oh, I'm so in love with him.
Or I would like to get to know them at least.
And it would have been such a better relationship or a better situation because that person respected you as a person, not as an object. Mm-hmm. But your energy was so focused on something that wasn't available to you that you missed the better thing that was. And oftentimes that better thing that was is probably a nice, beautiful slow burn situation that would be great for you. You know how we are about the slow burn.
Slow burn.
Because what you're not getting a lot of is anxious avoidance in a nice slow burn relationship. You're not dealing with that. And so you get to have something that evolves and grows like it's supposed to grow and actually provides inner deep levels of happiness versus this spark thing that's just flying back and forth. And, and you're walking around behind somebody like a 9-year-old kid who just discovered a women or men on TV puppy. And it's like, woo, oh, I like people. You're cutting yourself off from happiness. And that's the thing to realize.
Yeah, you're allowing yourself to be devalued.
You're allowing yourself to be devalued. You're allowing yourself not to be happy. You're allowing yourself not to be dateable, not to be visual, not to be seen, not to be loved, to not be appreciated. That is you allowing that. That's not, at that point, there's nobody else treating you wrong except you treating yourself wrong.
Now, if the person is doing, if you're with an avoidant and you're communicating well with them and saying, this is how I feel when XYZ happens, and they're not paying attention to it, they choose not to address it, they don't make any steps to be different.
Yep.
Know that they make like minimal steps to be different, or they do it for a little bit, but then go back to where
enough to see if you're off guard and then go back to where they were before.
Yeah. Like there's your answer.
Yeah.
There is your answer.
I like the power of 3 just because it's an easy number and it's an odd number. So 3 is like the 2, you get 2 against 1. There's no, they did it great the first time, they did it bad the second time. They did it great the first time, they did it bad the second time. They got to the tiebreaker and they did it bad again. They've made the decision. Easy for you. Yeah. I like, and 3 is an easy number to keep up with. If you're like, ooh, let's see how it works, the best 4 out of 7, you're going to forget by the time you get to 7. You've given them 7 chances, and let's say they're great at doing something right for, let's say, 3 months. 7 chances is 21 months. And that person is going to play out the game 7. So they're going for 21 months. That's dang near 2 years. So in 2 years, if you've given them 3 months to do something in 2 years, you're either going to have forgot where it started, or you're going to be like, well, it's been almost 2 years now, so I might as well just deal with it.
I don't want to start over.
I don't want to start over.
I want this to work. I don't want to start over.
Right.
Well, that's great that you want it to work, but the other person also has to want it to work.
Also has to want it. There's only so much you can do.
So if you have an anxious attachment and you've assessed like, I have an anxious attachment because of the things that we've talked about here, or you've done some Googling, or you've read the book Attachment, or Attached, whatever it's called. There are plenty of them though.
The Book of Attachments.
And you are with someone that's avoidant. What is the one called? That's you can be anxious and avoidant, but I can't remember. Disorganized. Disorganized. That's what it is. Ugh. Yeah, disorganized. Being with someone who is disorganized or someone who is avoidant is not going to help your anxious attachment. It's only going to make it worse. So it's finding someone that has a secure attachment,
which you can find early on. You can tell early on.
We talked about that in a previous podcast about burn the haystack dating method.
You can find early on. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's good to, like, the most important thing is to be in tune to how you're feeling.
Yeah.
And making sure that you are at your healthiest.
Here's something we kind of leave out with the being sure and being attuned to your own feeling. It's the idea that if you're in tune to your own feeling and you can search based off of those things quickly. You have an anxious attachment style. You know that even though you're managing it, it's still naturally in there. At the beginning, there are certain things to look for. You don't have to get 6 months deep. You don't have to get 3 months deep.
In the dating groups that we do, or the one-on-one sessions for dating that we do, we always have them make a list.
Always have
what
is
it that you want in a partner? And these are not
height, weight, money, workout,
they are not that.
Travel
it's
stuff.
also like what do you want in a relationship? How do you want to feel? What do you want to experience?
Right.
And this happened just, I don't know, a while back, of somebody saying like it didn't work out with.
Yeah.
My response was, what happened? Like where, like we talked about, it was like, were they aligning to your list?
Right.
Oh, I didn't even I need to get my list back out.
Exactly.
You probably need to get your list back out.
Exactly.
Because if you would have looked at that list and said, I want to feel like this, I want to experience this, and you were repeatedly not, or let's say you put hash marks next to the one, like the times that you did and the times that you didn't,
you would have known immediately.
You would have had your data.
You would have had it.
You would have had your data.
So whether you're a person who is a person who attracts or reads off of the emotional side, or you're a person who reads off the analytical side, whether you're left or right brain, the same sources of information feeds both sides. So you can take that information in that list and say, okay, I do feel this way, I don't feel that way, and just read it emotively. Or you could take that information and say, all right, let me check this. Nope, yes, nope, yes. All right, let me check on the next time we went out. Nope, yes, nope. We've been talking. Nope. All right, now I have my stats. But but it's there. it's
the data
there.
Is
That's
there.
the thing. And it doesn't take 3 months. It doesn't take 6 months. It doesn't take getting to that point of being like, oh, I spent so much time here. If you spent so much time and you didn't read that information from the beginning, then it's your fault, unfortunately, that you took that much time. Like the information,
your responsibility.
I'm just saying the information. I remember when I was looking after going through divorce and dating, and this was a little bit before I met you, and I was talking to one of the ladies at the gym, and we were just conversing back and forth because she was going through the same thing, and we were having a conversation of how divorce happened and things, and some of the things we learned to say, I really need this in my next relationship. And I even said then, this is about me, right? So it's not that that I'm not going to be hard pressed on other people and not be the same on myself.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? If I end up doing this, and getting back into the same situation, it's going to be my fault, and I'll have nobody else to blame. I'm not saying anything here that I wouldn't even apply to myself. I did do that thing. I did do that thing where I'm looking at it and thinking, let me make sure, because I don't want to have the same relationship I had before. Yeah. I don't want to go back there. And if that means I have to go down and do this list like it's a freaking financial report for the quarterly business investors or whatever, I will. Because if that's ultimately going to lead me to my ultimate happiness, then it's very much worth it.
Right.
And it was very much worth it.
Our joke here is that you just overcorrected.
I did. But I overcorrect into a good space. I can deal with this overcorrection.
And I always just say you overcorrected. You just went from one ditch to another ditch.
My left wheels are now stuck.
Yeah, so those are some ways to assess your attachment, some ways to be mindful of addressing your attachment style, some ways to feel more secure in a relationship. One thing I'm always telling people is ask for what you need.
Ask for what you need.
Ask for what you need. Be mindful. Ask them what they need. It's only fair that it goes both ways.
It should be both ways.
Making sure that you're content with yourself as a person. Like if you don't like spending time with you,
there's an issue.
We cannot expect someone else to want to spend time with you either.
Can't love me more than I love me.
Yeah. If you're uncomfortable spending time with yourself, what does that say?
Yeah.
So we need to look at that, look inward, address those things. Whether or not you can change it, surely like we said, you can at least manage it.
You can at least manage it if you don't think you can change it. So
yeah. So
cool.
There's that.
All right. Catch you on the next one.
From the outside, you look like you have your shift together.
But relationships, not always as easy. So let's have conversation that actually moves things forward.
And meet yourself where the shift happens.